Okay, so last night I saw Get Him to the Greek, and wait for it. Funniest movie I've seen all year. I laughed my fucking ass off to Get Him to the Greek, and I didn't expect it. It was a premise I didn't really like, and it had tie-ins to Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which I thought was funny, but not. I wasn't like so many critics like totally overrated that movie, and a lot of people like went right along with them, like, oh, this is the funniest movie this year. And the premise is just, when you hear the premise, it's like, oh, Jonah Hill is this music guy, he works for P Diddy, and he has to go to Britain to get Russell Brand back to America to do a concert at the Greek, like a revival concert. This guy did a show 10 years ago that was great. The live album was really good, but his career has really gone off the rails since, and he's back on drugs. And the last album he did was called African Child, and it was terrible. And, like the premise, I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Why would you want to make a movie about that? But they really got some good laughs out of it. Like, basically, what it is just what I just said. Jonah Hill's trying to get this guy back to the Greek theater where he did his best show so that they could, make a DVD out of it and another album out of it, maybe revive this artist's career and whatnot. Um, but what the movie essentially boils down to then is them, him trying to get him to the Greek with a bunch of drunk adventures along the way. Like, basically, the movie is just them getting completely wasted while Jonah Hill's trying to keep them on track towards getting into this theater. There's a little bit more to it than that. The characters are fleshed out a little bit. Like, I wish Jonah Hill would have been fleshed out more than the rock star guy, Russell Brand. Unfortunately, it's the other way around. You learn a lot more about Russell Brand. Like, his dad was kind of absent, and issues with his girlfriend. And Jonah Hill has some issues with his girlfriend, but you don't really get to understand what makes him tick too much. And his girlfriend is played by Peggy from Mad Men. I'm sorry, I don't know her real name, but the movie is just a series of scenes of them trying to stay on track but getting completely wasted. And so if you're into like the humor like that, like, I don't know why this popped in my head, like Cheech and Chong or something like that, like where it's drunk or stoner humor, where the humor comes from them being fucked up. You're gonna like it a lot. I've laughed my fucking ass off to some of the scenes in this movie. And that's really all it is. It goes on a bit long. Um, Definitely, I think it was almost 2 hours, if not more. It could have used some trimming, and especially near the end, it felt like it was going on a little bit long. And there's a threesome scene in the near the end that I don't want to say it's in bad taste, because a lot of the movie is in bad taste, but it just felt like it was a bit too far. It was a bit too far to push the humor. It wasn't funny. It was uncomfortable. I felt bad for Jonah Hill in the scene, even though like I saw him get raped 20 minutes earlier and I laughed my ass off at it. But there was something really uncomfortable about. I don't want to give too much away, but this threesome, I just didn't feel comfortable with it. Maybe some people won't be bothered by it at all, and maybe some people won't be bothered by the length because they're laughing so much at this. But I mean, it's just like each drunken scene just gets funnier, and so that you have like finally you have like a climax. Like, the drunken scenes build towards a climax where it gets to like this one in some like big hotel party in Vegas near the end, and P Diddy shows up, and they're smoking these. I don't want to get too much away with it. They smoke this joint that's laced with about every drug on earth, and as soon as Jonah Hill smokes it, he's like he has a panic attack and he thinks he's having a heart attack and he's gonna die. And that Russell Brand character brings him over to like a wall that has like a furry wall on it, like shag carpet or something on it. He's like, rub the wall, rub the wall. It feels nice. P Diddy like starts freaking out. He comes up, he's rubbing the wall with him. P Diddy's like, I'm gonna cover my house in this stuff. It's gonna be all over my house. My house is gonna look like a werewolf. Like people are just fighting and going crazy in the background. Um, so it really depends if that's like if you like drug humor movies or drunken humor movies like The Hangover or something like that. Um, I don't know, man. I just that humor works for me. And like the drunken scenes in this are just sometimes just so. Sometimes the scene will only be 1 minute, but there's so much stuff that happens in that 1 minute because it's edited so well. It's just so many like it throws a bunch of images at you at once, and it creates the effect of a drunken night, like the snippets of memories that you'll remember from a drunken night. I thought it was really well edited, especially the drunken scenes, which they take up a lot of the movie. And the movie does have a little bit of a heart to it. There is some uh, bonding that happens between Jonah Hill and Russell Brand as he's trying to get him to the Greek. And there's stuff that happens, between Russell Brand and his father, and between Jonah Hill and his girlfriend Peggy from Mad Men. Um, I wish there could have been a little bit more. I wish I would have got to know Jonah Hill a little bit more in the 2 or 2 plus hours I was watching this. If I'm exaggerating the length, I apologize. I didn't check the length before I watched this, but I remember watching it for like 2 hours last night. And it seems long. Movies, books, whatever, they should be as short as possible. You should edit it down to the core essentials and always keep the flow going. And there's a couple parts at the end where the flow kind of slowed down, but I mean, by the time they're going to their like first Today Show interview, announcing that he's on his way back and he's gonna go to the Greek, and they're sitting there in the limo. I don't want to give too much, but I want to give you an idea of what the movie's like. They're sitting there in the limo. It's Jonah Hill and Russell Brand. Russell Brand's sitting there drinking a flask of whiskey. Jonah Hill gets a call from P. Diddy saying, "Hey, man, you better keep him sober. He's going to be on the Today Show in like 20 minutes." Jonah Hill's like, "Okay." He hangs up the phone. He's like, "Hey, I feel like I want some whiskey. Can I get a hit off that flask?" Jonah Hill tries to finish the whole flask. And as he's trying to do that, the Russell Brand guy just pulls out a joint and starts smoking it. And, uh, and Jonah Hill's like, "Hey, I want a hit of that." And he just tries to sit there and smoke the whole joint, like Bogart it. And Russell Brand's like, "Hey, man, give me my joint back." And Jonah Hill's like, "No, man, don't be a bitch. I'm trying to get my smoke on." By the time they get out of the limo, Russell Brand is fine. He's like a rock star. He can handle his shit. Jonah Hill like walks out. He's like, he's completely fucked up. Walking around NBC Studios, or I think it's NBC or CBS. I don't know. Whatever I think it's on NBC. He's like running into people. He runs into like uh, one of the guests that they're gonna have after Russell Brand is Paul Krugman of the New York Times, the economist guy. And Jonah Hill's sitting there with like puke on his shirt and stuff. I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe humor without giving too much away. But I laughed consistently throughout this. There's sometimes I was just howling laughing, which is really, I mean, that's all I ask for a comedy. And for it to actually have a kind of decent story and a little bit of heart to it, really, what more could you ask for out of a comedy? So I'm not gonna go on too long about this. I thought it was the funniest movie I've seen all year. There might be funnier movies out there that I haven't seen. I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything else like other comedies that like got really good ratings. I don't know. I don't remember. I remember Get Me to the Greek or Get Him to the Greek had some good ratings, but I would agree with those good ratings. I thought it was excellent. Not perfect by any means, but very funny. If you're looking to laugh, this is a movie I'll probably watch 2 or 3 times at least. So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching, guys.